Hey, good morning. Well, it's morning at least here, bright and early, about 7 o'clock in the morning here in my office, getting things started for the day. Want to do this quick video. A couple days ago, I did a Facebook Live on how to be a better speaker and deliver more effective Facebook Lives. And I figured I would do a little bit of a condensed version and put it up on my blog. So obviously, Facebook Live is, I think, here to stay. Live video. Live video can be a little bit scary, just like recorded video if you go into it unprepared, or even you could definitely apply this to speaking on a platform or a virtual platform, literally on a stage or on a webinar or a conference call or something like that. So I want to give you a couple quick tips to be a better presenter and maybe get rid of some of the nerves and just deliver a more effective presentation. So number one is if you're going to do let's say you're going to do a Facebook Live, or you're going to give a presentation for your network marketing company, you're asked to train for 20 minutes on something, you would never get on stage or in front of the camera unprepared and talking about something that you know nothing about. So clearly you want to be speaking about some kind of subject matter that's easy for you to talk about. For me, for example, I talk about success in network marketing, prospecting, recruiting, team building, leadership. These are all things that are very easy for me to talk about because it's something that I've done my entire business career. But if I had to get up and talk about quantum physics or something like that for even 5 minutes, I would blow it because I don't know anything about quantum physics. So number one is go up there, before you turn the camera on, decide what it is that you're going to speak about, or before you step on that stage, decide what it is that you're going to speak about. Like anytime I do a blog post like this, I don't just throw on the camera and go, oh, maybe I'll decide now after the camera starts rolling what I'm going to say. I decide ahead of time what I'm going to talk about, and I have it frameworked in my brain. And if it's a lengthier video, I'll even bullet point it out. So I'll even show you this. I have it on an envelope right here, just a couple quick points, just in case I need to glance down. And I chunk it out. So chunking is something I learned a long time ago, and it's basically taking a big presentation, let's say you have a 20-minute presentation, and breaking it down into bite-sized chunks rather than looking at it as one big giant presentation that could be very intimidating. If you look at it and go, I got 20 minutes, well, I got 5 minutes of an intro, I got point 1 for 5 minutes, point 2 for 5 minutes, point 3 for 5 minutes, and then I've got a 5-minute close. It becomes a lot easier to put it into bite-sized chunks. So if you're delivering a Facebook Live, don't look at it like, you know, I'm going to do this 20-minute, 50-minute Facebook Live. Look at it in terms of the overall presentation, then break it up into bite-sized chunks. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to do that. And I'll look down real quick because, hey, I want to make sure I'm on point, right? Now, I'm telling you that I'm doing that, and it's going to be obvious that I'm doing that in this particular video, but any other videos where I might have some kind of visual clue, you're not even going to know that I'm looking at it because, quite frankly, most of the time, it's right behind the camera. So if I've got something and I want to remember that I'm on point, you can actually do this for your Facebook Lives and put something behind the camera. You can literally put a, you know, like a little mini teleprompter. I actually took, I should have pulled it out for this video, but I have this cardboard box basically that I cut a hole in it that fits exactly over my camera, and it sits behind and it will stay on top of my camera, so then I can, you know, if there's a note that I need to read to stay on track, I can do that. So that's going to help you not get off track, and typically it might be one word or a couple words that will be the next trigger for the bullet point that I'm going to be speaking about on whatever video. So you might have 3 or 4 bullet points up there, and it allows you to stay on track. So number one is know what you're going to say, break it up into bite-sized chunks. Number two is use some kind of visual aid or teleprompter. I mean, it could be right here in front of you. It could be down here in front of you. You wouldn't want it over here because you're like, hey, what am I doing over here? Because you really want to do it where it's kind of sly and nobody actually knows you're even doing it. And then number three is lights, framing, and sound. So, for example, I'm not going to get up like I did in the Facebook Live, but when you're producing video, you need to be thinking about lighting, shadows. Is my face lit up enough? Is it lit up too much? Sometimes natural light is good enough. Right now it's dark outside, so you can't see it over here, so there's no natural light coming in. I do have a Diva light over here. I have overhead lights, so I'm fairly lit up here in my office, and it's not like I have some high-end studio lighting kit that I use all the time, although I do have a lighting kit. You could have soft boxes or things like that, but you definitely want to make sure that you're not super shadowy when you're doing video. Sound is really important. if you notice, and I'm going to tap on this. Okay, so I'm on a lavalier mic, wireless lav mic. The mic is actually right here. And if you're doing this, like for example, a Facebook Live, and you're doing a Facebook Live on your iPhone or mobile device, there are microphones that you can plug into the jack and have a long enough cord where you can have it over on a microphone or on a stand and then be sitting here. What that does is it really impacts the sound, so you're not picking up on the ambient noise in the room. And if the camera was 8 feet away from me and I was trying to pull off of the microphone on the camera, the sound quality would be impacted. So if you want to have really good sound, be a good idea to get yourself a microphone that you can plug into, a nice lavalier microphone that you can plug into your mobile device. And then you want to be thinking about framing, right? Framing, like for example, is, and this is like our composition, right? Composition, framing, this is like photography and videography 101, where you want to be thinking about where am I in the frame of the, the lens here. So for example, if we were to divide this screen into thirds, like, and it's called the rule of thirds, you can look at it. And if I would Google rule of thirds, in fact, there's like one line here and then there's one line here. Notice how my eyes are about right on the upper third. I wouldn't have my eyes way down here on the lower third. And then the screen is also divided into thirds this way. Notice I'm more towards 1/3, and I've got more of this open area over here. That's not an accident. I could be very centered in the camera, and that would be fine too, as long as I'm obeying the rule of thirds and that my eyes are on the upper third while I'm doing the filming. I would never want my eyes to be down here. Don't ask me why, it's just camera 101. Any photographer is going to tell you about composition and the rule of thirds. But if you're good with lighting, you're good with sound, you're utilizing the rule of thirds, and you're looking at kind of like your background, like this background that I have is purposeful. This angle that I'm filming at is not an accident. Like I could easily, you're not seeing my whole desk, but I could very easily have a straight on shot on my desk, but I don't, because there's a window right here. And if I do a straight on shot with me from the front of my desk, you're going to see my head, the window isn't as pretty. Like if I'm sitting, my head's right in the middle of the window, it's not as visually appealing as if I've got, this photograph that's kind of blurred in the background. And by the way, the reason it's blurred in the background a little bit, or even the stuff in the background has got a slight blur to it, is because I'm shooting, in this case, with a DSLR camera in aperture priority mode. And so maybe it's for another video if you guys really want me to do and talk about what I shoot on in terms of like my video blog posts. I'm happy to do a post about that, but I'll wait until I get some requests from you guys. But again, for Facebook Lives, okay? Number one, don't get on stage, the literal stage, and don't get on the figurative stage, anything that you're doing live, unless you know what the heck you're talking about and that you are prepared for what you're going to speak about, and then you chunk it out into bite-sized chunks, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, or 0.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or however many points you're going to make. And there we go. And that's the one thing about working in your office. And my office is right above my garage. I don't know, see that? That's my garage door opening. It took me 3 months to figure out what that sound was. I always thought there was something weird going on in my house, some ghost, and then I realized, oh, I'm on top of the garage, so that's where the noise comes from. So point one is know what you're going to be talking about, put it into bite-sized chunks. Point number two, on my notes, right, is have your notes, or have it on a teleprompter, have it somewhere behind you so that you can keep yourself on track, and then think about framing and compositions, light, sound, and where you appear in the frame. And you'll have a lot more success when you're doing Facebook Lives or things that you're doing live on stage, on a webinar, on training, and you'll deliver way better trainings in the future. This is Todd Falcone. Hope you're having an amazing day. We'll see you on another video.